Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and I've got a very special interview episode today. We've got him, Sam Burns, in the house. Sam, thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This will be fun.
I imagine you are in full Riviera preparation right now. Is that what we're dealing with here?
Yeah, I went out, played nine this morning, and got some practice in. So the golf course is in great condition, like it always is. So looking forward to the challenge this week.
Yeah, how many holes do you like to get in before the tournament starts? You probably don't want to play too many. Is it nine on Monday, nine on Tuesday type of deal?
Yeah, I usually typically like to see, the harder side probably twice and the other side once. So probably 27. Just depending on, like tomorrow's an 18-hole pro-am. So we'll touch them all tomorrow at 7 a.m. and get going there.
Wednesday morning pro am at 7 a.m. Is probably not the most popular thing amongst your peers. Is that accurate to say?
Honestly, yeah, everybody's different, but for me, it's kind of nice, to get up early, get it done, and you're done by 2 o'clock, and the rest of the afternoon. So I prefer that rather than you know being there all day and not getting done till 6, and you're scrambling for dinner, and then have to be back out there at 6 the next morning.
I gotcha. And are you guys kind of taking guesses or educated guesses on where you think pin locations are and things like that? And you're hitting multiple shots from collection areas and all that fun stuff?
Right. Typically, this place they don't move the pins around a lot. There's just these greens they only offer so many different locations, and so I mean usually per green they have at least three, if not four, the same locations from the previous year, and so we have all that stuff written down, and so we'll hit shots to those areas or where we think they'll be, and kind of base it off that.
Has it been different in preparation? I swear I'll get off preparation here, but I'm so fascinated by this.
I love it.
Has it been different in terms of preparation without the greens reading books? Are you making more notes? Has that changed any part of the process for you?
Yeah, I would say you're probably paying a little bit more attention when you're hitting certain putts that, like Travis, my caddy, will get me to hit certain putts that, he just wants to see. That way we have an idea for when we have them in the tournament, if we have them. And maybe in the years past we wouldn't have done that because we could just look at the greens book. So,
Right.
yeah, definitely. And, a lot of the times we use the greens book for second shots. Um, if you're hitting what depending on what club you're hitting into a front pin, if it's a 2.5 degree slope at you rather than a slope away from you, or a degree of slope away from you, that could change the shot you're going to hit. So just little stuff like that you're kind of paying more attention to.
I love that. And I saw Justin Thomas and Cam Smith for the first two rounds. That's your group. How do you feel about playing with those guys? Do you get amped up to play with some of the game's best as well?
Yeah, that'll be a blast. Those are some of the guys I enjoy hanging out with out here. So it'll be a fun couple of days with them, and hopefully we'll all play some solid golf.
Certainly not your first trip around Riviera. In fact, you were in the heat of the battle here throughout last year. And I just want to kind of get an idea. Those final nine holes on Sunday, how much different do those feel than the first nine on Thursday or the second nine on Friday? Kind of talk me through that.
Yeah, there's definitely a different kind of a different energy there, and you just you're trying to obviously not think about it, but at the same time you want to acknowledge that it is there, and that you have these things going on, and your body's feeling a little bit different than maybe it did on the second hole of the tournament. So I think for me it was a great learning experience. I don't necessarily know that if I was ready to win yet then. I've learned a lot since then in those moments and having those experiences, which I'm really grateful that they happened. But obviously that was a tough one to swallow.
Does it ever work not thinking about it? Not thinking about the win? Does that ever work? Can you actually
No,
do that?
no, I mean it's one of those things, as if you wanted to acknowledge it because that's the best way to handle it. If you pretend it's not there and act like you're totally fine, and you don't want to do anything about it, then eventually it's going to show itself. And so I think for me, working with Brett McCabe, that's a lot of stuff we've talked about. Is just hey, these don't pretend like these emotions or these feelings aren't there when they are, because how can you address them if you act like they aren't? So I think that's a big thing that we've talked about and learned from.
Yeah, that is fascinating to kind of just embrace it in the moment and
Yeah.
acknowledge that it's there. The thing that we always hear on the telecast is when it's coming down the home stretch, it's like, oh, Sam Burns better account for some adrenaline here, right? Does that ever factor into your shots that you're hitting?
Yeah, I think at certain times, sometimes it can be a good thing and sometimes not so much. But really, it's just, learning about yourself in those moments and how, your body may change or, how you feel can affect each shot. And so, yeah, I think at certain times it definitely is a factor.
Do you think that you were able to take the experience on Sunday, which ended up being a third place finish at Riviera last year, into that same type of moment, heat of the battle at Valspar when you knocked on the door and it opened, Sam?
Yeah, 100%. I think, it's a lot of times where you're in those moments and it's easy to kind of get a couple holes ahead of where you're at. And, it's such a cliche thing to say, but, one shot at a time it's so important. Because, in reality, the shot you hit on the 70th hole of the tournament still counts the same as the one you hit on the fourth hole of the tournament. It just seems like it means a lot more in that moment, but, it actually doesn't. And so, just knowing that and being as prepared as possible for that shot and what are Travis and I talk about what's our intention on this shot, like what what's a shot here that we want to hit, we're comfortable with, and just go execute.
Quick detour here for just 1 second, Sam. Is there a shot that you've hit in your life that you think about a lot? Because I'll give you an example. I hit a 4 iron out of a fairway bunker about 10 years ago, and I still think about it all the time because it was absolutely perfect. Now, I
Yeah.
imagine you hit a lot more pure shots, I hope, than I do. But is there one that kind of sticks out that you think about often?
um yeah, I think it was the first hole on Saturday at Valspar. I hit kind of in the I was either in the right, yeah, maybe just in the fairway or just in the first cut. It was kind of a right tucked pin, and I had this like perfect number to hit this like big cut hybrid around the trees, and I hit it perfect. I couldn't even see where it landed, but I knew it was gonna be really good, and it ended up, a foot from the hole. Um, so just to start your day with, in contention with an eagle in the first hole, to kind of get things going was definitely a shot that it's kind of one of those things. As soon as you hit it, you just know it's going to be perfect.
I love that. And our brains are so weird that like we'll just continue to go back to that
Oh
one
yeah,
shot or that one
yeah,
moment for however
of
long it
course,
takes.
exactly.
That's so good. We've heard at times guys like Brooks Koepka talk about what their expectations are when they tee it up each week. Brooks said he started winning more when his expectations were to win instead of just to make the cut. Now, two victories here in the last, what is that, 6, 7, 8 months, something like that for you, Sam? Like, what are your true expectations when you tee it up Thursday morning?
Yeah, I think each and every week we show up, we try to prepare the best we can. That's the number one thing is make sure that my body's feeling how it needs to. Kind of making sure my golf swing's in check. Preparing to be in contention in the last 9 holes of the golf tournament. I think that's our goal every week. To have a chance to win coming down the back nine. And so I would say before I won, I would have said that was probably what my goal was that week, but I didn't know if I really believed it then.
Yeah.
And now having done it, I think it's kind of one of those things where it is your goal, and you also believe that you can do it. Um, so it definitely is a kind of an added boost of confidence.
Was there kind of a difference when you went from the first PGA Tour victory to the second? Because we've heard guys talk a lot about the second one. The first one's never a fluke, right? It's never a fluke. It's so hard to win out there. We get it, but the second one's kind of a validation victory, and a lot of guys start
hmm
to feel more and more like they belong. Did you feel that?
Yeah, I think for me it was, you know, for on my second, there was such a bunch leaderboard coming down the last 9 holes, and to play as well as I did, hit the shots that I did coming down the stretch. It was validation that um, we believed that we could do it. We believed that we were capable of doing it, and then it was validation that we could execute the shot when we needed to. And I think that's huge. You can lean on that, in future tournaments or future similar situations.
You keep saying we. That you're because this is apparently in your eyes, this is a team game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think my caddy Travis, he goes out every week and works as hard as he can to have a chance for us to win, just as much as I do. And so I think, at the end of the day, I'm the one that's hitting the shots, and ultimately it falls on me. But at the same time, I have full trust and confidence in him that he's going to be as prepared as anyone, if not more, and ready in that moment.
Statistically, over the last handful of years, Sam, your distance has decreased, but your strokes gained off the tee and approach have increased pretty significantly. Is that on purpose? And what do you kind of attribute those large gains to?
Well, I am getting older, so maybe that's
Oh yeah,
it could
what
be part of it.
25 now? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm aging.
Oh boy.
Um, yeah, I think when I first got out on tour, I was playing a pretty low spin driver. So obviously, getting the most out of the distance, but not necessarily driving it as straight. And so it was kind of one of those things that, I decided, hey, I'm willing to sacrifice 10 yards to hit, two or three more fairways around and
Mm.
give myself a couple more scoring opportunities. So I think that's huge. And obviously, you hear the distance debate now, and you see what a guy like Bryson's doing. But I mean, everybody's different. I think the more chances I get from the fairway, the better. And the way that these golf courses are starting to play, you're getting firmer greens, more rough.
Yeah.
So having an 8 iron from the fairway rather than a wedge out of the rough, I'll take the 8 iron.
Yeah, firm and fast. Let's do that every single week. We love watching that,
Yeah,
Sam.
yeah, it's fun. I prefer it that way too.
Outside of the number on your scorecard, what do you think the most important number is in pro golf? Is it your official world golf ranking? Is it strokes gained? Is it the cash in the bank account? What's the most important number?
Um, I would say it's hard to say, really. I mean, I think they kind of all go hand in hand, obviously. But a number that we look a lot at is strokes gained. Because ultimately that's kind of where we're basing things off of. And if there's an area that we're struggling in, and clearly the statistics are showing that, then it's like, hey, we need to address, what the problem could be here and improve in that area. And so, I think the better those numbers are, the higher up you are in OWGR.
I saw this year, you are now part of the Travis Matthew team, which I just chef's kiss. Love the stuff they
Yeah.
put out. Which I have a couple of questions. Why Travis Matthew? And two, do you wear golf clothes off the course? Everybody wants to know what like your day to day attire looks like.
Yeah. Well, I think for starters, I mean, you think of a brand like Travis Matthew, it's, you get everything in one. You get golf, you get lifestyle, you get, now they're coming out with the workout line. It's just, you kind of get all of that in one. And, as soon as I, started talking with these guys and met them, they're just, they love golf and they want to make the best clothes that they can. And so I think for me, it was a no brainer as soon as, I got to know them and, saw what they were about and what they represented and the brand. And, um, knowing that I can wear pretty much any of their clothes at any time on the golf course, off the golf course. It's such an easy transition, and I've loved it. It's been really good.
That's awesome. I always see these guys wearing the same, the same stuff into the gym and the same
Yeah,
stuff out to dinner. Which, listen, I
yeah,
I would do the same thing. I just, want to hear it from you guys. Which, no,
yeah.
it makes sense.
Their lifestyle stuff off the course is it's so good. And so I've really enjoyed kind of getting to see it all and wear it.
That's Sam Burns. Sam, we really appreciate you coming on. We're wishing you the best of luck this week, and thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Enjoyed it.
That'll do it for this episode of the First Cut Podcast. We'll be back after each and every round as normal. But for now, we'll see you next time.